Even though just last week, Bitcoin hit a brand new all-time high and altcoins began to rally once again, with even Ethereum getting within $50 of its former all-time high, the number one question being asked right now, not only in my comment sections, but across the internet, is what is the best strategy for taking profits at the top of the bull market? Or in other words, when will we top out? How do we know we're topping out? And that's something that everybody is asking right now. Well, I can go ahead and tell you right now, if you were to take 100 different crypto gurus and line them up and ask them to identify what and when the top of the bull market would look like, you'll receive 100 different answers. What does that mean? That ultimately means that nobody actually knows for certain when and how high the top will be. We are all out here trying to use every tool at our disposal to make money in these markets. But there are some things that I think everyone would find in common to help build their own strategy. This video is not financial advice. I'm not telling you to carbon copy everything I'm going to do, but this is the video where I'm going to tell you what my plan is. What am I looking for to call the top of this market, and how will I react with my portfolio? Please, please, please do not use this as financial advice, because it's not that. It is simply an educational tool to help you continue to think how to build your exit strategy for yourself. If you enjoyed this video, I'm going to ask you to do two things. Number one, as always, make sure to smash that like button, because it really does help us out in the algorithm. But the second one is, if you are not subscribed to this channel, I urge you to go ahead and smash subscribe as well. If you are a subscriber, do me a favor and go share this video with one of your friends who's maybe newer to crypto investing and you want to help see them grow their education. That being said, let's go ahead and dive into the details of this video. Now, first of all, one of the reasons why this is so big is maybe you were a person who rode the entire bull market back in 2021 and ended up round tripping your bags. Nobody here wants to have that happen again, especially people who have been invested for more than 4 or 5 years. You also don't want to be taking profits necessarily way too early and miss out on massive pumps. But the reality is, it's going to be impossible to line up the top perfectly. So I want to start off by just telling you the number one thing that you can do, that I have done, is remove the word perfect from your investing and trading vocabulary. This word will only serve to confuse and frustrate you if you try to marry this idea of being perfect. Instead, I urge you to replace it with the word good. Sometimes you will do things a little too early. Sometimes you will do things a little too late. But ultimately, the odds of you pinpointing every top and bottom is just not likely. However, with using proper tools and analysis, you can create great buying levels and selling levels for your portfolio to grow and make you generational wealth. Now, the number one answer whenever it's asked, when will the top of the bull market in crypto be, is the theory called the 4-year cycle. This video is not going to go over the in-depth theory of what that is and go into reasons why I don't think it's going to play out anymore. But this theory ultimately says that every 4 years, or actually 3 years, 11 months, crypto serves a major bull market top, followed by a year of bear market corrections with hefty pullbacks. There are so many reasons why I believe that this theory is not going to play out again. First of all, this cycle has been extremely different for the last 2 years. And before anyone comments in the comment section, oh, this time's different. Sure, Tim, this time really is very, very different. Never before has Bitcoin hit a new all-time high before the halving event. However, that happened back in 2024. Never before has altcoin season taken this long to get going, and we're not necessarily 100% certain that altcoin season has even started. The 4-year cycle theory is already very weak because it only tracks price levels of 2 different markets, and it's assuming that this bull market into 2025 will be the third. Well, if you haven't been subscribed to this channel, I tell people all the time, remember that the first time something happens, it's just something that happens. The second time, you start to see some rhythms, but it's simply a coincidence at best. It really does take 3 full cycles before you have an accurate theory. And yet the 4-year cycles only ever happened twice. However, I do think it'll be a very convenient excuse here in just a month and some change for millions of retail investors just like you and me to think that the top is in and take profit right before another major rally where institutions will make amazing wealth and retail is simply left on the bench watching. Instead of trying to use a 4-year cycle and put a calendar date ahead of time where the top will be, there's going to be several signals and signs that I'm going to be looking for that tell me the bull market top is close. Now, there's 5 different areas that I'm looking heavily at to make these predictions. Let's start off with criteria number 1. Massive euphoria comes back into the space. When I say euphoria, I'm talking about retail investors going crazy with millions and millions of new users creating brand new accounts and beginning to purchase cryptocurrency for the first time. Just like back in May of 2021, we saw searches for Bitcoin skyrocket to all-time highs. At the same time, YouTube views across the space also began to shoot parabolically. We had channels like Altcoin Daily averaging over 500,000 views per video. Channels that were used to only 1,000 concurrent live viewers were sitting at some levels getting 15 to 20,000 views in one live show. The floodgates opened with the masses pouring in to learn about this cryptocurrency investment opportunity. Apps like Coinbase climbed to the top of the App Store charts into the top 5. You might be saying, Tim, is that happening right now? Well, the answer is no. While YouTube views are not in the dumps at the bottom of a bear market, no crypto YouTube channel is flying off the radar. As I showed you here before, Google trends still are relatively low with search terms like Bitcoin. Coinbase is sitting just inside the top 300 coins on the App Store at the moment. All of these are signs that we're going to see shoot to the upside, telling us that massive euphoria is here. Even you guys listening who maybe you're not influencers and don't think of yourself as crypto gurus, because you've been in crypto for multiple months, your family and friends will think that you're some sort of expert, and they'll be texting you day in and day out asking you what's the best Bitcoin to buy. Even though crypto adoption is growing, we're not seeing massive euphoria happen at the moment. So right now, I don't think we're anywhere close to the top, but that will be one of the signals when it begins to happen again that a top might be very close. The second criteria of what I'm going to want to see happen next is going to be signs of early economic struggle. Now, I'm not talking about actual decline in economic numbers. No, I'm talking more about bubbles beginning to form. The feeling inside of America and the rest of the world is that everything is on top of the mountain. The economy is strong, people are strong, businesses are strong, yet the data is going to start to tell a different story. For one, either inflation is going to start skyrocketing once again, or very sneakily unemployment is starting to pick up once again. Credit card debt will once again begin to skyrocket, putting millions of Americans and people worldwide into crippling debt. Another thing to keep an eye on that we're not seeing right now is a boom once again in the housing market where a bubble begins to form. Ultimately, what we're looking at is high inflation matched with high increases in debt will put the whole world into some form of a bubble that when that bubble pops, we're going to have a massive recession crashing even the cryptocurrency markets. Now, while there's some question marks about what the future looks like, and there is a slight increase in inflation as of late, what I'm talking about is going to be much, much higher. This is another area where I do not think we're actually in trouble. I could very well see a recession not coming even in the year 2026, but being pushed off till much later. However, if I am wrong and that does end up happening later this year or sometime early in 2026, make sure you're watching this because that could be a major topping signal in the markets. The third thing that I'm looking for to predict a top of the market coming soon is very fishy and bearish action from whale wallets. If you're newer to crypto, a whale is someone who owns a massive amount of cryptocurrency. We're not talking about your local neighbor Bill down the street who owns 3 whole Bitcoin. We're talking about people that own thousands of Bitcoin, millions of other altcoins who hold billions of dollars of crypto. These whales can be referred to as smart money buyers, and ultimately, they received a lot of money because they know how to read the markets. Even though I myself am not a whale, I like to track whale wallet movements and buy when smart money buys and sell when smart money sells. What I'll be watching for is when many whale wallets begin to put cryptocurrency back onto exchanges. While this doesn't mean an immediate sell-off, more often than not, if you're seeing large chunks of crypto from whales coming back on exchange like Binance and Coinbase, it means they're preparing to sell in the near future. I also want to start watching whale wallets take small bites of the market by selling off small chunks. Again, it doesn't mean the top is in right then, but this means the whales are starting to test the waters to see just how resilient the market is or if we're ready for some sort of bubble to pop. Speaking of whales, going into criteria number 4, I want to talk about a specific type of whale, and that whale is the Composite Man. Now, the Composite Man is a theory built by Richard Wyckoff way back in the early 1900s, but it's a thought that ultimately, even though there's several entities that are evil and like to manipulate markets, you treat them like one individual. Think of all the large centralized banks, BlackRock, Fidelity, and several others that work simultaneously controlling the news and the narratives to misdirect retail investors like you and me at all times. The things that you're looking for is, even though price is sitting very high, it seems like every news outlet that you listen to is making massive price predictions for every crypto. The ultimate goal here is, if they are ready to sell off and take profit, they need exit liquidity. They will hold billions, if not trillions of dollars of crypto, and if they hit the sell signal in one day, the flash crash would begin. Instead, they convince the masses to make sure to put in buy orders so that they can sell off all their crypto at a nice high price. After this happens and all the bag holders at the top are retail investors, now they allow the market makers to begin to crash the price. The news, however, will continue to tell the retail investors this is simply a correction, keep on buying because of this massive number to the upside that we're predicting. You got to learn how to follow not just what the Composite Man says, but start to watch what he does. He is the whale of all whales. And again, you can sit and cry about how it's not fair the whales manipulate the markets, or you can attach yourself like a suckerfish and buy when they buy and sell when they sell. Don't listen to what they say, watch what they do. Another major sign that is going to be crashing is when the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index makes a move into the higher 80s or potentially lower 90s. Now, the fifth and final criteria that I will be watching is using technical analysis. I do technical analysis on this channel every single day, and I think it's a great tool to use for determining when it's time to buy and when it's time to sell. But there are two main things that I'm looking for on the charts that will tell me, along with these other signals, the top of the bull market is probably in. Now, going back to the top of last bull market back in 2021, there's two signals that were utilized that you could have used to call the top. Those two signals both include oscillator actions from LuxAlgo. The number one movement is called a bearish divergence. Now, Bitcoin back in April of 2021 got all the way up close to $65,000. In November, it would go a little higher, up towards 69,000, giving us a higher high in price action. But when you take a look at the oscillator action during the same time frame, we clearly saw a lower high come in from our RSI and LuxAlgo oscillator. This is what we call a bearish divergence, and it was the first signal that a big correction was coming. The other thing that happened there late in November of 2021 is what I like to use as my number one sell signal. The LuxAlgo oscillator gives us a red reversal, bearish momentum, and negative money flow. This is the sell signal of sell signals, in my opinion, and you can see that lined up just perfectly right here with the top of the bull market. Now, I want to be very clear. Not every single weekly sell signal or bearish divergence means the bull market top is in. We've actually seen both these things happen in this bull run, both in March of 2024 and in December or January of 2025. Not all weekly sell signals equal the top of the bull market, but every top of a bull market comes with these weekly sell signals. In fact, I just went through 5 criteria that are going to be bearish, but ultimately not a single one of them individually guarantees the top of the bull market. Instead, it's when you start to see the lining up of all or most of these signals that more than likely it's time to start getting out of the markets. Now, this is going to lead me into the part of the video where I tell you my strategy on when I'm going to be taking profits on crypto. So the first time that I will take profits on my long-term holds will come after a parabolic run in crypto, where a lot of these coins reach levels I've been predicting for years now, maybe a little faster and more aggressively than I thought. I might not even wait for bear signals or euphoria. Ultimately, I have goals with this money to purchase a house and some other assets for my family. I'm not going to give up a chance to take profit at least a little bit. My ultimate goal is to take the amount of money that I want to put into a down payment on a house and end up investing it when those assets are good. Some of you don't want to buy a house. Some of you already own a house. You choose for yourself. What are some goals that you're going to do with this wealth in the bull market? And when you've seen a parabolic run hitting a lot of your targets for price action, go ahead and at least take a chunk of profit out to make sure you get your goals accomplished. The second time that I will take profit is when the 5 criteria I just talked about above all start to line up. After a major run with euphoria of retail investors coming to the space, I'll look for signs of manipulation and whale movement, along with some maybe bubbles being formed in the economy. I next will be looking to the charts and seeing, are we seeing those weekly bearish divergences and weekly sell signals? At that time, I will go ahead and remove 75% of my portfolio. You might be saying, Tim, why not 100%? Well, just in case I end up being wrong, because again, as I said in the beginning of the video, there's no way to know perfectly when the top will be. I want to make sure I have some skin left in the game to rally if I do end up being wrong. However, I will remove the rest of that if two things happen. Number one, we do have a big correction in the space, yet the hope and the strength of the investor remains strong. This actually happened back in 2022, where after Bitcoin had a correction of those all-time highs, even 50% to the downside, the hope of the bulls in the bull market continued. We had a nice little relief bounce for Bitcoin, but this ultimately would go ahead and crush us. The reason for this is that institutions and large manipulators want to crush the soul of every retail investor. So if there's any hope left, that tells them there's still a key in there to go ahead and keep prices crashing the downside. It's only when all hope seems lost and blood is pouring through the streets that all of a sudden you start to look for bottoms. So again, if we start to crash in crypto, and yet the positivity remains, that's my sign that we're only beginning this crash and it's going to get a whole lot worse. The other major sign that I'll look for to go all out of the markets after the top has been confirmed is going to be when we receive a bearish MACD cross on the monthly chart. I'm not going to show you every single one because you can ultimately go and do that research for yourself. But you can see back here in January of 2022, we did receive this MACD bearish cross, and that was only the beginning of the pullback. The same thing happened here in June of 2018. And even though we had major corrections to that point, this was the nail in the coffin. This is not just a correction. The bear market is officially here. So there you have it. That is my strategy on how I'm handling the top of the bull market. Now, you might have noticed at no point during this video did I give you a date. If you've been watching our channel, I've talked about the chances of more realistically this bull market making a run into and possibly going to late 2026. But for all I know, we do top out in 2025. For all I know, we top out in the middle of 2026. For all I know, we extend this bull market into 2030. The reality is that we probably will not see another great bear market lasting more than a couple of months until we actually have some sort of economic crash and a recession. My expectation is that you're going to need to strap in for quite a while now, because I believe the new norm with institutional adoption coming in is what we've been seeing play out over the last 2 years. Multiple month-long rally, multiple month-long consolidation. Multiple month-long rally, consolidation, so on and so forth. Until we actually get the next recession, this is going to probably be the new norm. 5-6 months of rallies with 3 to 5 months of corrections and consolidation. This can be very frustrating for investors, but ultimately, one of the easy things to do is buy the dips and then sell the peaks when you do start to see some of those bear signals, knowing there'll be another chance to buy a dip in a healthy bull market. It's only when the 5 criteria that I listed above start to line up that I genuinely think we might be seeing massive crashes in the crypto market. Now, this video was just a taste of how to process and deal with cryptocurrency bull markets and bear markets. If you want to learn a whole lot more and go deeper, you can come learn more about how to trade and invest over in our VIP trading group. It's the top link down in the description, and it's going to be absolutely worth your time and effort. We've helped thousands of people grow their portfolios and understand the long haul of investing to make generational wealth. In that group, we have daily live trading sessions, academy videos where you can learn how to trade, along with several sessions of Q&A to help beginners, intermediates, and advanced people grow deeper in their understanding. So go check it out right now, and I'll see you over there in one of the live shows. Well, there you have it. That's the end of the video, so now it's time. If you enjoyed it, make sure to smash that like and subscribe, and go ahead, even if you're a new subscriber, share this video with a friend of yours who wants to learn more about crypto. I'll see you in the next video. Adios.